If you are struggling to pick a niche, and especially if you're multi-talented, multi-creative, or multi-passionate, this is the video for you. I'm also going to answer the question, is picking a niche bad? I think my answer is going to surprise you. Before we kick things off, if this is your first time seeing me, my name is Margie and welcome to my channel. I'm super excited to have you here. And if you're returning, thank you so much for being part of my online family. So today we're going to talk about picking a niche. Is having a niche a bad idea? And what I see happening with big creators right now that we can learn from and actually avoid have happened to us. Here's the thing, if you're multi-creative and multi-passionate like me, the thought of picking a niche is like a nightmare. I remember, I think, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? How am I only gonna talk about one topic? It made me feel like I was gonna paint myself into a corner or put myself in a box, and it felt so restrictive. And when I started online, picking a niche wasn't even something that people were really talking about, but I did end up having to hire a coach to help me out. And so she told me what she thought my niche should be, that one thing that I should really focus on. And I'm like, well, it makes sense. I have experience with that, so sure. So I thought everything was going great. I had a clear path. And then she asked the question. She asked me, how do you feel about being known for that one thing 5, 10, or 20 years from now? And I thought, no way, absolutely not. But that's what can happen when you pick the wrong niche or you pick your niche the wrong way. So let me explain. So first, let's talk about what exactly is a niche anyway. Well, it kind of depends on who you ask because it has a lot of different definitions. But the most common one you'll find is picking one topic to talk about, and that's kind of it. And it makes sense because if you do that, you're going to be able to more quickly grow a targeted audience if you only talk about one thing. But for me, and maybe for you too, that sounds awful. Because we're creative. Even if you don't consider yourself to be multi-creative or multi-passionate, we're people. Like, we have more things we want to talk about and more to bring to the table, and we're creative in some way or another. So do I think picking that kind of niche is bad? Yes, I do. But on the other hand, if one day you're posting about fixing your car, the next time about fishing, and the next time about beauty hacks, nobody's going to know what your YouTube channel is about. The algorithm isn't going to know, and you're probably never going to grow. So is there a happy medium? I think that there is. So does that mean that you shouldn't have a niche? No, it doesn't mean you shouldn't have a niche. I think it means that we need to redefine what niche means, because you might be seeing these videos online all over the place where these big creators are talking about they're quitting, they're unhappy, they're bored, they're burnt out, they're tired of only talking about one topic. And when you get hyper focused on one topic, especially if it's the topic that's working for your channel and you just focus in on that one thing, eventually you get to a point 5 years, 10 years, maybe even 20 years down the road where you have indeed painted yourself into a corner. And I think that we're seeing the fallout of that kind of thing happening. So the question now is, how do we prevent that from happening to us? How can you prevent that from happening to you? Well, as somebody who has coached a lot of people on building their brand and picking their niche, I have a little 3-step formula that I think is going to really help you. But before we get into that, I think we need to back up from the current hyper-focused, microscopic definition of niche and look at it more broadly, because we need to create room to grow, to evolve, to pivot if we need to pivot in our YouTube channel, especially if you're an aspiring YouTuber or you're newer. You want to be able to give yourself some buffer room. Is that what they call it? You know what I'm talking about, right? You need that room to be able to move and be more flexible. Plus, I think we all want to find that sweet spot between being successful and being satisfied. And that's what this formula will help you with. So let's get into it. Hold on. I need a sip of coffee. So the first step is thinking of your niche in a more general, more broad way, picking 1 to 2 words that describe it. And I've always used the analogy of an umbrella, a niche umbrella, and you pick 1 to 2 words that describes that overarching theme of your YouTube channel. For me, it's lifestyle. And I'm going to give you more examples as we go into the next 2 steps. So that should really help you. But think of 1 or 2 words right now that really describe the overarching theme of your YouTube channel. So step 2 is picking 3 to 5 topics that fit underneath your umbrella and make sense. So if your niche umbrella was beauty, you wouldn't be over here talking about fishing one day and fixing your car the next, right? It has to make sense to you so that you know what you're going to show up and be talking about. It has to make sense to your audience so they know what to expect when they come to your channel, and it needs to make sense for the algorithm. So basically what you're doing is you're creating a flexible framework for you to be able to show up in, to be your most creative, most authentic self, and have that relief and room to just be you. Using me as an example, underneath my niche umbrella of lifestyle, my topics are faith, fitness, food. It always comes back to food for me. Wellness and entrepreneurship. Those are the things that I want to talk about that are meaningful to me, and I want to show up on my YouTube channel talking about those things and finding the audience that wants to hear about those things. So let's walk through a few examples I'll put up here on the screen for you. So if your niche umbrella is outdoors, your topics might be hiking, glamping, gear, and travel. If your niche umbrella is wellness, that could have the topics of healthy cooking, anti-aging, mindset, and fitness. If your niche umbrella is reinventing your life or reinvention, your topics might be budgeting, wellness, home, and fitness. And the final example, if your niche umbrella is fitness, you might be talking about topics of healthy food, exercise, gym clothes, and equipment reviews. So think about your 3 to 5 topics that make sense underneath your niche umbrella. The third and final step is creating your recipe. My analogies always seem to come back to food. But anyway, creating your recipe. So what does that mean? That means as you're posting about these 3 to 5 topics on your channel, you're going to watch your analytics. So once you start to figure out what are the videos that are getting the most views, engagement, likes, what topic or topics are you talking about, keep making videos on that topic or those topics, but don't neglect your other ones. You're going to create your recipe. Okay, these numbers are made up, but I just wanted an example for you. So let's say that with my YouTube channel, my least viewed are entrepreneurship and fitness, but my most viewed is food. So I'm going to focus on making more food videos, but I'm not going to neglect the other topics. I'm still going to talk about them, just not as often, depending on what I see is happening with my engagement. If, for example, in my channel, the biggest topic that gets the most views, that gets the most engagement, I'm going to make more videos about that. But I'm still going to show up and talk about the other things that are important to me. Why? Because I need that sweet spot between success and satisfaction. Now, do I think that this kind of approach might make your YouTube channel grow a little more slowly? Yes, I really think that's a possibility. But if you're on YouTube for the long game, you do not want to lose yourself in getting those numbers quicker. Or if you do, then this video is not for you. But I think for most people on YouTube, we want to show up and talk about the things that are meaningful for us, that we want to be authentic to ourselves and what we have to share and what we love to teach about and what we love to talk about. And if you lose that, you're going to basically create a channel for you that you're going to end up hating. And that's what's happening with these big creators who unfortunately ended up painting themselves into a corner, and now they're just not happy. I mean, what's the sense of having a YouTube channel if it just makes you miserable? So I think that this approach to picking a niche really gives you the freedom, the flexibility to show up as you, to talk about the things that are meaningful to you, to find your audience, and to still have a niche that makes sense to the algorithm and to you so that you can find that sweet spot between success and satisfaction too. One thing to keep in mind is that people subscribe and keep showing up to watch your videos because of you. Yes, people are on YouTube looking for information, but have you ever wanted to get some information about something? You found a video, clicking on somebody's channel, and they're just not for us. And we're not for everybody, and that's okay. We shouldn't be for everybody. And that just proves that it's not just information that people are looking for. They also want someone they can resonate with, especially in this day and age of AI. People are craving human interaction, real personalities, real people with passion about what they're talking about more than ever. And that's why it's so important to always show up as you, talking about the things that you're passionate about and not losing your voice as you're growing your YouTube channel. That's my game plan anyway. I hope this has been really helpful for you. If it has, please leave me a comment below and let me know what was your favorite part. And if you're still here, please leave me a heart in your comments so I know you made it all the way to the end. Thank you so much for watching. Leave me a comment, and if you like this video and you want more like this, let me know that too. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up for today. See you on the next one. Ciao.